Each of us has a different personality, ability, interest, talent, and perspective, and each of us has a different internal clock. Your internal clock might suggest one interval of time to complete a task, while someone else's internal clock might suggest something different. The key is to not impose your time intervals on others. Just because you can type 65 words a minute does not mean everyone else has to. Your job is to ensure those working for you have the proper tools, the proper skills, the proper training, and the articulated vision of when and where tasks are to be completed. Given that, you must have the patience to let them accomplish those tasks. This does not mean that you shouldn't monitor them from time to time, because you should. It does not mean you can't be the cheerleader and encourage them, excite them, and challenge them from time to time, because you should. What it does mean is to give them the space they need to complete the tasks encompassing all requirements. If they finish early, that is great. Celebrate their accomplishment. If they finish late, that is unacceptable. Find out what happened and work with them on how to move forward. And if they finish on time, that's great. Thank them for making things happen. The goal is the goal, and if you have articulated the goal and accomplished all you can do, then let the rest be up to them. Wayne remembers.
Several years back in Hamburg, Germany, my wife, an American student in a 2-year international school program at the time, had a track meet coming up and asked for help. My wife wanted to compete in the school's annual 5K race. Also competing in the race would be the current school record holder. My wife's goal was to win the race and hopefully beat the school record too. As a sprinter, I helped her with technique that would help her manage energy, efficiency, and power. She already knew how to run a 5K competitively, so my added techniques could help her knock off valuable time. After a couple of months of training, she was ready for the race. She asked me to stand at the 300-meter of the 400-meter track, give her split times, and let her know how she was doing as far as beating the record as she passed me each lap. Her classmates were standing next to me cheering her on as she raced past. Each lap I did as she asked. For the first several laps, not only was she in the lead, she was also ahead of the record time. Coaching from that one spot, there was only so much information and encouragement I could offer. One lap I remember telling her she was dogging it, meaning she needed to pick up the pace if breaking the record was still on her mind. During the last 2 laps of the race, the current record holder, who had been about 50 meters behind my wife, started to pick up her pace. On the final lap, I gave her the last bit of information she needed, which included that she was 19 seconds off the record pace. I turned and started walking towards the finish line, but her classmates standing with me during the whole race could not believe what I was doing. They asked me why I was not letting my wife, their classmate, know the record holder was catching her with every step. They wanted to know why I was not moving with her, making her increase her speed and keeping the record holder from catching her. Why was I not coaching her? They shouted. And the most heinous thing they noted of me was the fact that as I walked to the finish line, my back was to my wife and the pack of runners as they neared the last turn before crossing the finish line. They knew I could not see what was going on, and they were really confused by this. What they did not know was the amount of time my wife and I spent training. They did not know what she had left in the tank to finish the race. They did not know that my wife was not about to give up first place 200 meters from the finish line. They did not know that during our time training, I struggled with my wife's timing of when and where to pick up the pace. I realized early on that my wife learned everything I wanted to teach her, but she would implement them at her own pace and timing. They did not know this. I did. So yes, I turned my back and sauntered towards the finish line. The race was over at that point, and I knew she would win. It was clear to me that she knew it too. After all, the goal was to win, and she spent time practicing and preparing for her goal.